Good morning. I had no idea. I thought there must be a doppelganger out there somewhere when that happened, but creative. Anyway, good morning. It's 11 a.m., Tuesday the 23rd of June. We're in the world-famous Debussy Theatre, which I spelt wrong on these invites, but you can't get it all right. And welcome to the annual Royal Naturist Society of Cannes annual seminar and naked conversation. And we're going to talk today about the naturist beaches of the south of France, of which, of course, I am a world expert. But actually, sorry to disappoint you. If you're here for that seminar, or equally, bizarrely, one on business transparency and the world of corporate blogging, you can ask Andy about that later. But I send my apologies for setting the wrong expectations. Instead, and in all seriousness, the title of this seminar was designed over several conversations and a number of emails with my friends and colleagues, especially Andy Berndt, the tall one, who graced this stage with me, and I will introduce in just 1 minute. I think we all felt there was an incredible opportunity at this amazing gathering of the great and good in Cannes in 2009 to do what I would call an acoustic live set, unrehearsed, naked, so to speak. So we promise you that you're not going to hear any canned speeches, excuse that terrible pun, or presentations, but instead a good, honest conversation by a bunch of contemporary communications, marketing, advertising, digital leaders and thinkers. A bunch who I hope this is a compliment, are just old enough to see the strengths and weaknesses of the present and the recent past, but young enough to embrace the new and exciting future. I think in particular I'd like to highlight that in addition to that as a theme, which is going to be a theme that will run through our discussion, two of my panellists or colleagues have fascinating backgrounds because they've been both poachers and gamekeepers. They've worked on the agency side and now our client side. So I think also we'll bring to this discussion a unique perspective on agencies, clients, marketing, creative, from both a sell side as well as a buy side now, which should, if we're lucky, make for an amazing, unique discussion. So without further ado, let me do some introductions to my fellow naked collaborators. First, and in the middle of the group, Andy Berndt. Andy is Managing Director of Google's Creative Lab. He's responsible for the stewardship of the Google brand. As Managing Director of the Google Creative Lab, Andy leads the marketing team's creative efforts and inspires brand advertisers to innovate with Google's products and services, of which there are many. And boy, are they innovators. Andy joined Google from Ogilvy in New York, where as co-president he oversaw Ogilvy's advertising, direct digital and other marketing capabilities. Prior to taking this role, Andy was managing director and oversaw agency operations. He's also, as group creative director, prior to that, and copywriter, he's worked on such notable accounts as IBM, e-business campaigns, and Linux efforts. Earlier in Andy's career, he's had a great career, as all of my panelists have, actually. He was recruited by Steve Jobs and Lee Clow to help Chiat Day Los Angeles relaunch the brand upon Steve's return to Apple. And I think at this point I'd like to say, because Steve has been such a leader in our industry and he's recently gone through some surgery, so we wish him a speedy and swift recovery, I think, for all of our sakes and certainly for Apple and the industries. Andy Berndt has also worked as the worldwide account director on the Apple business and guided the Think Different campaign, which I'm sure many of you know and much awarded. The launch of the iMac, introduction of the Apple online store. He joined Chiat from Wieden & Kennedy, where always one degree of separation. He worked on the Nike account and did a number of pieces of notable business there. So that's Andy. On the furthest from me, Jonathan Mildenhall, a good friend of mine, a client as well. Jonathan has an incredible career as well to date. And he started his advertising career in 1990 at McCann Erickson, but it all got better after that. He's actually worked at... No, he has worked at some of the best agencies in the world in London at some of their most... at the times when they've been best. He's worked at BBH, he's worked at Lowe, Hal Henry Chaldecott Lurie, who was the agency of the decade in the 90s, TBWA, and most recently, Mother. He's worked on some of the most awarded pieces of business, Nescafe, Audi, Coca-Cola, Smirnoff, Sony PlayStation, Nissan. In October 2002, Jonathan was promoted to the role of Managing Director of TBWA, and in 2004, Jonathan was elected as a Fellow of the British American Project, an initiative designed to establish stronger transatlantic relationships between both public and private sectors. So much so that he ended up in America, in Atlanta. So he moved from London to Atlanta. And that was back in December 2006, where he relocated to Atlanta and joined the Coca-Cola Company as Vice President, Global Advertising Strategy and Creative Excellence, and hasn't looked back since.